Hello, welcome to When the Smoke Clears. I am the Recovery Plug. How's it going, everybody? Well, the day after Thanksgiving. Oh man, we all probably have a lot to be thankful for, I'm sure. But before we get started, how I like to get my video podcasts always started with a moment of silence followed by the serenity prayer for the addict who still suffers. So if you would, a moment of silence, please. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay. Well, how's it going? I hope everybody's doing great. And if you're not, well, pay attention to the video, and hopefully by the end of this video, you will start feeling a little bit better and maybe taking your first step to feeling pretty good. I hope that happens for you. I wanted to, I guess, talk to you today about, just I was it's a little story of how my day's gone so far. And I woke up this morning and wasn't too sure what I was gonna do, but I decided that I was gonna get up and go out on the town and see how people are doing, see what the community is looking like, and as far as the folks that are struggling. And my first spot that I went to was over by the CAM center downtown, and it wasn't a good sight. I mean, there were people on the streets. I went pretty early, so the people, they were bundled up on the streets, sleeping in tents and the cardboard boxes, sleeping bags, just bundled up in blankets. I mean, I was sad to see that we have that type of problem, in our city, and it was just, it hurts, you know what I mean, to see people in those situations. And I guess it hits home a little bit even harder because I've been in those situations. You know what I mean? I've been homeless and addicted, and living in tents and cardboard boxes, living on the street, living in hotels and motels, and living in bandos and that sort of thing. And I was walking past the gate there where the camp center is. There was someone was giving out food and water and stuff, and I walked on by, and they had no more water. They had like 2 bottles of water left, and they just had a couple of dinner rolls, and the guy offers me the bottle of water and a dinner roll, and I took it and I sat down next to a person that was sitting there at the center, and it was a woman. She's sitting there, so I asked her if I could sit next to her, and she said okay. She said go ahead, and so I sat down next to her and had the dinner roll and the bottle of water, and she offered to share a piece of her turkey with me, and I started asking her a few questions, and asking her if she was from here, and what she's doing, how long she's been on the street and that sort of thing. She said she's been here in San Antonio on the streets for about 3 months. She'd come from some town down in South Texas, and she came over here because of some medical reasons that they don't have that care for her there in that town where she was at. So she found herself over here in San Antonio, and wound up, just being in the street. I mean, because she don't know anybody here. She's here just because if she gets her medical stuff, then this is the place, I guess, the nearest place that offers that type of treatment that she needs. And I was like, gosh, you just don't know the story behind an individual who's sleeping on that bench or in one of them tents or under a bridge, or whatever the case is. And walking around downtown with a backpack and, halfway dirty, the typical, I guess, profiler of a homeless person, you know what I mean? And it's, you know, I just, I mentioned to her that they were having this thing at Travis Park because she said she didn't know what she was going to do during the day, but she did mention that she was glad that she happened to be walking at that particular spot at that time because they offered her some food and she hadn't ate, and so she was able to eat a full plate of food and some water. And I told her that I was going to the library to go, go see what was happening over there, and there's a lot of homeless folks over there and addictive people and stuff like that. So I wanted to go and maybe interview somebody out that way, and so I made my way over there. And she said if I could go with her, if she could come with me, and I was like, yeah, sure, you can come. And so she walked with me, and I told her that they were having this get together at the Travis Park, that they're having a tree lighting, and they're gonna have some food giveaways and stuff like that. So that'd probably be a good spot for her if she needed another meal later on today. It started at 6 o'clock this afternoon, and so I told her it'd probably be a good spot for you to go to. And so I showed her where it was at, and walked with her that way, and I moved on, and but it got me to thinking, man, that I told her, I said, nobody wants to be homeless. Nobody wants to be addicted to drugs, but it just happens. You know what I mean? Somewhere along the line of your life, something traumatic happened, and the results were sometimes homelessness, and sometimes being addicted to drugs, and sometimes being both. And but one of the things that stuck out to me was that most of the people that I've talked to out in the streets and that are dealing with those types of issues all had one thing in common, and they all said that they would love to get the help, but they can't get help because they don't have an identification card or a social security card or birth certificate. So, man, I could relate because when I was in the world of addiction, I had an ID, but mine was expired, and I had trouble doing all kinds of things because of that issue. And then I tried to go get another one, and it was too far out. Like, I made an appointment, and then my appointment wasn't for like 4 months down the line. So I'm just like, that is, I don't understand that. And, I think there's got to be there has to be a different way that we can help these people, because I've been there, and I'm still there in a sense, because I'm at a transitional housing facility, so I'm not all the way recovered from addiction or homelessness by any means, but I come out and do these video podcasts because I think that there needs to be some type of awareness. There's got to be some people got to be aware of what's happening. There shouldn't be a problem that is like a third world country issue in the richest country in the world. You know what I mean? And it is I don't know. That shouldn't be happening in our country. And there's a lot of people like that out here. And myself, I'm a veteran, and I'm in a transitional facility, housing facility for vets, and there's a lot of veterans who are in that situation, and I'm just astounded at the problem that we have, and there's really nothing that's out there that can really transition somebody's life in a hurry. You know what I mean? So it takes a lot of time for you to go through the system to, get a housing, or to all of these programs that they have out here. They're great programs, don't get me wrong, but the thing is that a lot of these people, these programs that want to help, house the homeless and that sort of thing, you have to have an identification, you have to have a social security. Some of them require a birth certificate, and it's just like the means to do that is so hard, and obviously everything costs money too. So, you know, there's a bunch of paperwork and a bunch of red tape, I guess, in a sense, that goes behind all of that stuff. And I don't know. We have to come up with a different solution, I believe, and that's one of my things that I'm trying to do is try to bring awareness and maybe come up with some sort of solution that we can. I guess speed up that process for the people who are struggling like that. There's got to be some place where you can go to get all three of those documents in without having to wait for months and months and months, and so that we can start helping these people who are out here like this, because there's no reason for them to be out here like that, not in this country. And so I wanted to kind of just go over some things that I took notes on some stuff that I was kind of studying and that sort of thing. And you know, like I said, I do this to help the person that is struggling, and to help the person who is already in recovery and who is already transformed from being homeless and addiction, and already have their life, moving forward. And I do that so that perhaps maybe those people can, maybe light a fire in them that maybe they could help in some way, shape, or form, and then light a fire in the person who is still struggling, and to take that first step into asking for help, because nobody likes to ask for help. Nobody likes to depend on anybody else. But sometimes, hey, you know what? We're human, and we've evolved from when humanity first started in tribes, that it was a tribe and the tribe helped each other. That's how the tribe survived. You know what I mean? We were indigenous people from way back when, and the only way we survived was helping each other. And we've gotten away from that. You know what I mean? Right now, our tribe is like spread out so thin that no one's helping each other out. You know what I mean? And nobody cares. I mean, for the most part, if it's not happening to you, if it's not in your front yard, then if I don't see it from my house, then it don't matter to me. And that's the mentality that today's society has. And they might see the person on the street, give them a couple of bucks and that sort of thing, and that's great. But how many people do that? It's slim. So. I was reading this thing. I just wrote some notes, and I'm just going to read some of this stuff that I've written before, and kind of just go over it with you guys and see, we'll see what you think. Leave me a comment, or and tell me if maybe you've gone through some of the stuff that I've written down, and maybe it resonates with you. Maybe, you understand where I'm coming from, and maybe that's enough to get you motivated to take that first step into asking for help, or to help someone else. And I'm a religious person in a sense. I'm spiritual, and I believe in a God. My God may not be the God that you believe in, but nonetheless, I like to read different people's things, and as far as spiritual stuff, like there's a lot of people who believe in Buddha, a lot of people who believe in Jesus, and they have a lot of the same concepts. You know what I mean? And Jesus and Buddha were both tempted by the devil, and they both denied the devil. And they say that Jesus says that inside yourself is the power. That Jesus says that about the power that every human being has, and Buddha says that look for the light inside yourself and find the light within. And those two concepts they're both saying that each human being has the power to move on to the next step, but you have to look for it within. And when you do that, it's almost the same thing as when you are going through a 12-step program. In a sense, a lot of the things in the main thing in the 12-step program is that you got to believe in a power greater than yourself, in a higher power greater than yourself that can restore you to sanity, right? And I believe that when you do that, that I think that concept is the same concept as these two things that Jesus and Buddha thought. That it's a power that you have within yourself to move forward, to that power, that inner being, inner spiritual being that you have is the existence that's going to get you to bring the miracle upon you, to get out of addiction, to get out of depression, to take that first step into restoring your life and into recovery, basically, because you don't have to be an addict to be in recovery, because you can be in recovery for many different reasons. And the thing is with recovery is just that, is that when you're in a recovery process in your life, you're in a situation where now you've felt it within your heart and in your mind, and you're now deciding to take action. And you are now in this recovery realm, and in the recovery realm, what you're doing is that you're not only finding yourself, you're recovering yourself. And you're recovering things that you've lost along the way, that landed you in the homeless situation, that landed you in the addiction, that landed you in depression, that landed you in, the anxiety world and nervousness and stress and all of that stuff. And when you find a higher power greater than yourself, and in my case it's Jesus Christ, I now leave whatever problems that I have, I meditate about it, I pray about it, and I leave it in the hands of my higher power if I can't find the answer within myself. And that's the beauty of it, that if because you're gonna have to do the legwork, right? So if I'm doing the legwork and I'm doing whatever possibilities that I have to further my recovery and to better myself and to better my life, if I can't attain it through the actions that I'm doing, then those are the things that I leave for God. Those are the things that I leave for my higher power to, I pray about it, I meditate about it, and then I ask for the help. And lo and behold, there's always something that happens that that happens, and when you may not know that it's happening, but it's happening. And it's just like when I sat there in my last days of addiction, looking at this girl that I was with. She was my girlfriend at the time, and I was just done. And when I'm just sitting there, after we had this argument, and I'm sitting, I'm being a watch for her to do her drugs while I'm watching out for, nobody to, see us or whatever. And after, we had this whole big old fight, and, she's bitching at me and this and that. And, that day I just had enough. And I can remember walking away that day and just telling God, I said, God, I'm done. Please help me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm tired and I need help. So whatever you have planned for me, please let me see it. I don't know how I'm going to get out of my situation, but I'm asking for the help today. And lo and behold, the next morning, after I woke up, about an hour or two after I woke up that morning, I get busted and I get put in jail. And that was the last time that I used. And that was the last time that I saw the world of addiction. and I hadn't looked back since. And it was a struggle, and it was kind of sad because I had to leave this woman who I had been, we had been in each other's lives for the last 4 years or so, and to just, not have that anymore was kind of devastating in a sense, and because, but she wasn't done, you know what I mean? And I understood that I can't help her. I can't help her be done. And I could just, plant a seed in her ear and in her heart, and then hopefully she takes that and runs with it. And that's all I can do. And, I can't change her. But what I needed to do at that particular point in my life is change myself. And without changing me first and taking care of myself first and being selfish about it, sometimes you have to do that. You have to be selfish if you want to be recovered from homelessness, from addiction, from stress, from, post-traumatic experiences, from depression, from anger, from all of that stuff. You have to be selfish, and that means taking care of you first. And you have to find that spirit within you to do that. And I believe that Jesus and Buddha really knew they have some of the same principles, and it's just it's good to know. I wrote down that recognition of trauma, learning to deal with it, which is hard because it's pain, and human reaction to pain is always hard, and most of us don't like pain. We don't like pain at all, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain. Human beings don't deal with pain right, and the way that we deal with it, the most comfortable way that human beings deal with pain is to suppress the pain. And suppressing the pain is just pushing it down. It means you're not getting rid of it, you're just pushing it down. And the more you push things down, it's got to come out somewhere. So later on down the line, it's going to explode, one way or another. And it could be you lashing out in anger, or it could be you just, going over the top with the drugs. And, for me, when I had pain or any type of physical or emotional pain, my go-to was to go use. And when I used, I didn't give a shit about anything. And that's how I dealt with it. So finding myself and being selfish enough to find myself finally again, and to take care of myself first, it has allowed me to start helping others, and which is great because this time last year, if you would have told me that I was going to be sitting in a park one day doing a video podcast on advocating for homelessness and addiction and recovery, I would have laughed at you. But nonetheless, look at me. I'm here doing a video and bringing awareness to those topics, and doing it clean and sober and happy. And but let me read on a little bit more of what I wrote. It says, most people can hold a stint in recovery of an addiction, a New Year's Eve resolution, or a X amount of days during Lent, or a 30-day program. At the end of the stint, yes, the triggers are there, and naturally we always go back to your mental default setting, or the normality of what you're used to, and which is your comfort zone. And those, when you go through those stints of sobriety, of recovery of some sort, it's easy to slip and fall into dealing with stuff in what I call the default setting in your brain, because you've done it for so long, and it's hard to change that. And the only way to do that, to change it, is to do it on a repetitious basis. I mean, you're talking daily. Every day's a struggle, and every day you got to do something so that you don't revert back to what you're used to, and that's the addictive mode and the addictive things that you do when you're in that mode. And for me was trying to do things that would take the place of smoking the bolo every day. You know what I mean? And the I wrote down that the Bible, the Quran, Buddhism, all have stories from prophets, which we always read, which we always need to read more than once, or hear it from someone else to get the interpretation right. Because every way if you read some of the stuff in the Bible, and a lot of people don't get it. You know, Bible, the Quran, and Buddhism, and any of those things that you're doing in spirituality, it's hard to understand some of that stuff sometimes. And if you hear it from somebody else, in all those books, it's the prophets who are telling these stories of their experiences, and you know, that's how they're relaying the message. You know what I mean? And I wrote down, for us to finally understand. So the way I interpret this, if you have gone through trauma in any level, that in itself is a prophetic story, and it's these stories of true life experiences that hit harder in someone's ear, and so in someone's heart and soul. I'm sorry, because we are the prophets of our generation. You're going to relate to my story, and it will make more sense to you than someone who lived 2,000 years ago. Because our cultures and boundaries, demographic stability, demographic boundaries of race, culture, economics, mental stability, and medical practices are so much different. As humans, we are quitters, and realize as humans, we are quitters and raised that way. You hurt, feel pain, you automatically think, I can't fix it. This is so bad. I got to go to the hospital to get help. And that's so true, that, you know, we put ourselves in a situation that, okay, if something bad happened to you, then you automatically think, okay, now I'm feeling depressed. How do I deal with this? So that's a sense of quitting. You know, if you get hurt, you know, and you don't know how to deal with it yourself, you don't know how to fix it, then you just stop. That means you quit. Now you're going to go to the hospital to see if you can ask for the help. So this is not something that, it's not a bad thing in a sense, but it's just the generation that we live in. It's society. And you know, those days back, when you're reading the Bible and stuff like that, when you see and hear those stories in there, if someone gets stoned and you know, they got all this these contusions and all this stuff, what are they going to do? Are they going to go to a hospital? No, they don't. They deal with it. They deal with that pain. You know what I mean? You know, that when people would get these diseases and stuff like that, what would they do? They would seclude themselves in isolation, and people would brand them, you know, as, you know, somebody that you can't that you can't talk to or even go see, because they're cursed in a sense. So they're cast outs. So you know, so how did they deal with that? The person that was the isolated person, they just dealt with it. They had to suffer the pain and the consequences, and they dealt with it on their own. So you know, they didn't have nobody to go to. You know, and it's not that they didn't quit. They just moved on with it, and that sort of thing. So in a sense, our generation is I guess we're a little spoiled in a sense, but there's things that we can do to better our situation. And I believe that it comes from having a spiritual experience within you. And only you can change you. You know what I mean? No one else can do it. And no one else can help me, you know, move forward in the things that I'm doing. unless I ask for it. You know what I mean? So unless I start becoming selfish and wanting myself to be a better person, to get a better life, then I have to ask somebody for help. And one of the things that I'm doing is I got a lot of stuff that I'm doing now in this run of sobriety, because things that I wasn't doing before. And one of the things is like doing this podcast video. Another thing is I'm attend a couple of peer support groups that I can go and talk to with people who are going through the same thing that I'm doing, and it's the easier thing to deal with when you do that. I'll go to different AA meetings and NA meetings and, hear other people's stories. And, I don't always share when I go to those meetings. A lot of times I go just to listen. And because I believe that, we're prophets of our generation. You know what I mean? Because we're the ones who have gone through the pain. We're the ones who have been in the homeless situations. We're the ones who have been addicted to drugs, and we're the ones who have gotten out of them. And we know how to do it now. And it wouldn't be right if we didn't share that with somebody. And that's just my belief. You know what I mean? That's just what I believe. And that's the reason that I do these podcast videos, is because I need to share my story. I need to share my input, that the things that I go through on a daily basis, and the things that are helping me along the way. If I can share that with somebody else, and maybe that gets the other person on that first step to the world of recovery and positivity. And that's my due diligence. That's my service work as of today. And will I put more on my plate in the days to come, years to come? Yeah, I would think I am. That's the goal. But if my videos just save one person, well then, hey, you know what? It was worth it. And I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. And I just ask you guys if you would please just do me a favor and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and that would really help me push my message and my stories out to more people and bring more awareness to the people out there. And maybe it'll help more people get out of the world of homelessness and addiction and into this realm of recovery and positivity, because it's a great place to be. And so please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave me a comment. If you want me to talk about any other subject, I'll do that. Just let me know what you think. And so if you would please do that. It didn't cost you a dime. It don't cost nothing at all. All you got to do is tap the button, and you'll help one addict and a homeless person somewhere around the world. But I really appreciate you guys listening, and thank you for your time. And I guess till the next time, I'll When the Smoke Clears. I am the Recovery Plug.